Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to the show. Hope you had a good weekend. A lot going on in the world. We're going to ease you into the news today. Start off with our dream spell. Alright, today on our dream spell calendar, what we have is the red spectral earth. Red spectral earth, guided by the earth. Red is the color of initiation. Spectral tone, tone number 11, is called the spectral tone of liberation. The symbol for today, called the Dakin, is the earth, and the guide for today is also the earth. Earth is all about synchronicity and navigation. Together, the phrase for today is, I dissolve in order to evolve, releasing synchronicity. I seal the matrix of navigation with the spectral tone of liberation. I am guided by my own power doubled. And on the Gregorian calendar, it is Monday, October 17th, 2011. So that catches you up to speed on our date for today. So you know where we're at. We're just moving right along. A lot of stuff going on in the world. These Occupy movements are spreading not only across the United States, but across the world. People are standing up. There's lots of questions about what's going on. So I'll talk a little bit about that as we go into the show. In the meantime, Dirk Bradshaw is with us today, and he has news and information about Tesla. So I'm going to send it over to Dirk. Dirk, over to you.
Hey there, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is time for the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. I am Dirk Bradshaw, and tonight, did the U.S. government steal Tesla's technology? When impoverished inventor Nikola Tesla died in New York City, the U.S. government confiscated his notes. Why? Were they trying to steal his technology? Did they ever relinquish the notes? Tonight, we open up the case of the USA versus Nikola Tesla. You're going to want to know this.
Here are the facts. Nikola Tesla was born in 1856 in present-day Croatia. He spent his childhood fascinated by math and engineering. At the age of 24, he invented the induction motor. 4 years later, he traveled to New York to interview with his hero, Thomas Edison. This meeting did not go well, but Edison still hired Tesla. After a few months, Tesla resigned in disgust and left to work on his system of alternating current. 10 years later, Tesla passed away impoverished in a seedy New York hotel room. After he died, the U.S. government confiscated his possessions. His notes were held by the Office of Alien Papers and eventually shipped to Yugoslavia. Or were they? We know Tesla attempted to create death rays, wireless energy, and powerful gyroscopes. But there's one thing we don't know. What was in those notes? Here's where it gets crazy. Thousands of people believe the U.S. government suppressed Tesla's technology. Take the story of the Tesla oscillator, a small device that can allegedly simulate earthquakes. Consider also the death ray. In an interview with the New York Times, Tesla stated he'd invented a giant death beam that would end war because it was simply too easy for countries to destroy each other. But his strangest alleged invention was a worldwide free electricity system. With funding from J.P. Morgan, Tesla built a gigantic tower in Shoreham, New York, and named it Wardenclyffe. J.P. Morgan hoped the Wardenclyffe Tower could provide wireless communication across the world. However, Tesla had other plans. The inventor reportedly wanted to build an energy system that used Earth as a conductor. If the project worked, anyone could have electricity by simply sticking a rod into the ground. Unfortunately, free electricity is not profitable, and this system could be incredibly dangerous for the global elite because it could profoundly change the energy industry. Imagine how different the world would be if society didn't need oil or coal to function. Could the current world powers maintain control? Many historians believe Westinghouse and Morgan refused to continue to fund the Wardenclyffe project because they grew tired of the great expense. But what if they banded together to blackball Tesla? Financially, it makes sense. The mark of most great inventions is that they fundamentally change the society in which they exist, and the people at the top of the social structure have more to gain by reinforcing the status quo. But Tesla's technology didn't necessarily disappear. Some theorists believe the government continues to use Tesla's research in places like the HARP facility of Alaska. HAARP stands for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. Officially, this program investigates ionospheric phenomena, and the government claims it is purely for research. There's no way to know for sure what Tesla's notes contained, and if the US government really has used Tesla's designs, they've done a wonderful job hiding their tracks. Both skeptics and conspiracy theorists agree that the US government held Tesla's notes before eventually sending them back to Europe. But what happened in between? We may never know. We do know that the US has top-secret experimental compounds throughout the world, and the US has a history of secretly developing technology before revealing it to the public. Yet Nikola Tesla remains an enigma. He believed in extraterrestrials, wireless energy, and dozens of other things yet to be proven to mainstream science. His beliefs were ridiculed as often as they were applauded, and the beliefs of these conspiracy theorists are also often ridiculed. The story seems based on anecdotes and rumors. The operation at HAARP is classified, so we may never know what the scientists are doing. Yet we'll also never be able to know exactly what Tesla was up to either. As the rumors surrounding HAARP and Area 51 grow, conspiracy theorists ask, are these mysteries related? Did the government really return all of Tesla's notes? Or did these notes contain something they don't want you to know?
When we were children, we used to come out here to Earth, and we just used to have it was like an amusement park. It still is to me. I mean, it always has that kind of enchantment to me. I'm always nostalgic when I'm here on Earth, and so I'd been here a lot. But I think the time when I finally decided to make Earth my home was I was on a tour ship. It's one of those, it's almost like a cruise liner, I guess you can say. And we were here visiting, and engine blows. Next thing I know it, sounds, crashing, people screaming. We smash basically smashed into Roswell, New Mexico. And that's what I'm most known for, is I'm the alien from Roswell, New Mexico. There was 4 of us. I'm the only one still here, as far as I know. I haven't kept up with the other guys, but as far as I know, they went back, and I decided to stay here because I love it here. And so we made a deal with the government. As long as I got a job, they were fine with it. So that was the first thing I had to go do. Was they as long as I wasn't an illegal alien, and I made myself a naturalized citizen in 1968. And I'm proud of that because I am a real American. Oh, man, I can't believe it's over. Where does the time go? Well, I see the fat lady's off the stage. She's looking right at me. It's time for me to go put her to bed. I hate goodbyes. So instead I'm going to say, until we meet again, I'm Dirk Bradshaw for the Cosmic News. Wake up.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of people.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing. What they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning
spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. This is the UFO News for today. We've got, let's see, 5 stories for you. The first one starts off in New York. This is a UFO sighting of a mothership over New York City on the 16th. That was just yesterday in New York City. So, all right, here we go. Let's check out and see what we've got here. Okay, here we go. As you can see, we just got the single white light. Well, actually, it's a pretty interesting looking light. It's a big round light in the middle, and then there's a smaller round light on either side of it, equidistant. So, and then we have a shaky camera operator. Okay, now they're going to move at half speed here. This is from Live News VTV. You can find them up at YouTube. Alright, here's our slowed down version. There we go. There's our big light with the 2 little lights, and that's what we got, okay? That's from VTV News Live UFO sighting. You can follow the link from our webpage, firstcontactradio.com, right-hand side, UFO News. Okay, our next story comes to us from third phase of the moon, and this is sightings, ancient artifacts. Check this out, pretty interesting.
There have been ancient discoveries explored and discovered throughout the world, but this may be the first in the South Pacific. My name's Blake Cousins with Third Phase of Moon. This amazing structure alongside this old foundation wall could date back about 500 years, but this is from an era I cannot explain. There are 6 identical structures set in a Pacific pattern that lets the light come through. Could this have been a place of worship? Ancient people worship their gods because of flight. And to me, this resembles some kind of turbine engine. Walking through this ancient structure, it makes me believe that this could have been a launching pad. What could have this possibly have been used for? The designs and the hieroglyphics on this wall are unlike any design throughout the world. There's no evidence of any kind of civilization here, except these architectural ruins. The sculptures here in the design are unexplainable, but these seem to resemble some kind of military ancient warrior. very few discoveries made like this. And we want to thank all our subscribers from around the world. My name's Blake Cousins, and we'll see you again at Third Phase of Moon.
Alright, very good. Very interesting indeed, huh? Very interesting indeed. Okay, our next report. Reports of UFOs hovering over Islington borough skies. This comes to us from the Islington Gazette.co.uk. Says that from silvery orbs in King's Cross to mysterious craft in Canterbury, the borough has seen a glut of reports of unidentified flying objects during the last 12 months. The Newington Green area was by far the busiest, with 4 suspected extraterrestrial visitors spotted. A witness who wished to remain anonymous said, "I saw a round, luminous object over the green. It was pretty big and flying quite low and slowly and went away in the clouds." Another witness walking through the Canterbury noticed a strange object with bright lights. They said it moved like a hovercraft, suddenly changing direction very quickly. "I was in the Air Cadets for 4 years and was taught aircraft recognition, but this was nothing I had seen before." Even festival goers weren't immune to the phenomena. Charmaine Morgan, who was at the Fleda in Finsbury Park, said the last act was on the main stage. Crazy Horse, my friend, had gone to watch it, but I decided against it, and I found myself looking up at the night sky. Despite some drizzle, I realized that hovering above the crowds were 3 disc-like objects in formation. She added, "At first I thought they were part of the act. I looked for cables or beams, but I couldn't see nothing, and they were up high, approximately 100 feet. Until December 2009, the Ministry of Defense had dedicated line for people to report UFOs, but ditched it to save money for other things." Alright, so very good, very interesting sightings they're having out there. Moving on over, we go to Michigan. UFO fleet over Macomb County, Michigan, October 14th. UFO videos, 50 to 100 UFOs were recorded above Clinton Township, Sterling Heights in Macomb, Michigan on Friday, October 14th around 8 p.m. Alright, let's take a good look at this right here. Okay. I have to scroll through. This is a little bit of a longer video here. Okay, we start to see in the distance the lights. You can see them very faintly. And okay, as the video goes in time, you could see now it's 1, 2, 3. The way that these are kind of connected and moving, I don't necessarily think they're in formation. They look like they're part of one big craft, because they are flying pretty tight with each other. Okay, so this was over Macomb, Michigan. Alright, that's what we got right there. And our next sighting here comes to us from New York City. Some kind of triangle-shaped craft was recorded in the night sky over New York City on October 16th. Let's see what this one's all about here. Again, from VTV. I think this is the one we might have just seen over here, wasn't it? Oh yeah, no, okay. Same one, we just saw this one, so there you go. You got a double report up there. And this last one here, okay, what are we going to make of this one? I'm not quite certain, but I wanted to present this one to you anyway. You know how you hear stories that, well, you remember Men in Black, they said that stories get placed in gossip columns and gossip magazines just to throw things off. There is truth to this. That isn't just a rumor and that's all it is. There is truth to it. So here's Weekly World News, and there's a story in here, and I found in some forums saying that Dr. Phil actually talked about this on his recent show. So I wanted to bring this to your attention just to see if he is telling people about this, exactly what it is he's telling them. And this says alien cameras installed in U.S. cities. This was by Frank Lake. And it says that Chicago, to prepare for the coming alien attack, all major U.S. cities have installed special infrared cameras to help detect the aliens. government authorities who were concerned that there were three giant alien spaceships attack in late November, or they're concerned that when three giant spaceships attack in November, that they may not be able to see them moving through the streets, buildings, and homes. So over the weekend, all major cities in the U.S. installed alien cameras. It was a success. Are we ready for the alien invasion? Mayor Bloomberg told WWN last night, in order to give our law enforcement officers an advantage, the U.S. government purchased a large number of alien surveillance cameras from a Russian manufacturer. These cameras, if properly calibrated, can detect aliens in cities and in homes and office buildings, and they work from over 500 yards away. The cameras are highly accurate. We have used them in Russia for decades, and they have helped us identify a number of peaceful aliens from planet Ziba that have been inhabiting our towns and cities, says Ivan Krushnov of the Moscow Extraterrestrial Institute. We have adjusted the camera to be able to detect the invaders from planet Gutan, and we have confirmed the attacking Earth will be in late November. The UN panel on extraterrestrials has improved the cameras, and they may be installed in all cities throughout the globe in the coming weeks. Special cameras and camcorders often capture things that humans don't see with the naked eye. This is particularly true of parallel reality, aliens, and UFOs. The photos can also predict the future. It is an open secret that any image that comes from the side of the human being leaves an impression on the retina. Russian scientists used this fact to develop the high-accuracy alien camera. Dr. Krolov from Perm first developed the prototype camera in 1946. He had a patient who suffered from hallucinations. Trying to study his disease, Krokov took pictures of the patient's eyes. The photo depicted a round, bright spot on the dark background. The patient was suffering from one and the same vision. He always saw the same moon in the night sky above his head. He developed the idea of photographs, and it was this idea that led scientists to experiment on what the eye can see, but the brain does not register. How exactly these alien cameras display the other dimensions, Russians aren't saying, but American authorities are just grateful to have these cameras so we can defend our cities from the alien attack. Now, again, I don't know the reality of this story. It's coming out of Weekly World News. This could be a nonsense story out there just for fun and entertainment. But because the story is out there, let's just at least take a look at it, because government agencies, the alphabet agencies, they do use these gossip magazines to put stuff in because it's easily discredited. You can look at this and say, oh, look, we got Bat Boy up here, and now we got a story of alien cameras. This one might not be true. It's probably not. That's the initial thought. But from the government standpoint, they put the story out in public. If they put it out in public, even if people don't read it, doesn't matter, as long as it's out there. So they could say, they put it out, they reported it to people, people chose not to believe it. So that's why I decided to post this and read this story for you, just so you could see what's out there. Hey, if you happen to be in Chicago or some strange city across the country and you happen to notice a strange camera, let me know. Write in, let us know. If you know of this story and you find out any validity to it or not, let us know on this station as well. We're very interested, and we'll see where it all goes. Anyway, that's it. That's a UFO news for today. Jumping away for a song. I'll be back momentarily. Stay tuned.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. Oh, shit.
I am back. Here we go. Continuing on. Ron Paul, government is not a business. This is Ron Paul's weekly update. So we want to make sure that we get to this. All right. Let's see what Ron has to say. Here you go, Dr. Paul. Hold on a second. Little technical sound issue here.
October 17th. Amid the din of economic nonsense being bandied about since the collapse of the housing bubble and the steep ramping up of our national debt, there has been the persistent refrain that Washington should be run more like a business. If only more business people were in charge to wield their business acumen, we would have this country in shape in no time. Is that a good solution? Businesses seek primarily to increase their revenues and profits. Government revenues depend on taxes. Government accumulates tax money by squeezing it out of people's productive earnings with threats of audits, fines, and imprisonment. Our government already collects roughly $2.1 trillion annually from the productive taxpayers of America. We hardly need to increase our federal government's revenues like a private business. Businesses sell products or services to voluntary buyers, always looking to increase their market share as much as possible. But what is the federal government's product or service? Rules, regulations, bureaucracy, paperwork, red tape, hoops to jump through, uneven protection and security from people with guns, coercion and compliance through force and confiscation of assets, militarism instead of national defense, and, of course, a vast welfare state. Do we need more of these government services? Hardly. In fact, we have far too many of these destructive things already. What we need is more freedom. Freedom is the simple ability of people to live their lives as they see fit without government coercion, provided they do not initiate force or fraud against others. What we really need is a less coercive government, not more revenues. Washington needs to stop seeing itself as a growth industry and realize that the true function of government is to protect liberty. Washington certainly has expanded and grown and accumulated a great deal of the people's capital for itself, but this has been at the expense of our nation's prosperity. This trend needs to be reversed. We don't need yet another jobs bill to supposedly put the American people back to work. Politicians need to realize that, aside from outright hiring some 14 million people, government does not create jobs. The only thing government does is hinder job creation by getting in the way and consuming otherwise private resources. Therefore, the most useful thing government can do for unemployment is to liquidate much of what government does in the first place. One plain example is our tax policy that encourages U.S. corporations to accumulate foreign earnings abroad rather than repatriate such earnings. Currently, there is over $1 trillion of capital that companies are keeping overseas because of the 35% tax charge for bringing it back to the United States. Our government literally is pushing capital and jobs overseas, and that could be used to hire an estimated 2.5 million people here at home. Businesses create jobs. Government is not a business. We don't need more stimulus or phony jobs bill. We don't need more revenue. $2 trillion is plenty to fund the federal government annually. What we do need is a wholesale rejection of government as a central economic planner. Thanks for calling this update. A new update is placed on my website every Monday at www.house.gov/Paul under the heading Texas Straight Talk. Thanks for calling.
All right, very good. That's the weekly Ron Paul update. So you now know what is going on with him. All right. Elenin. What is becoming of Elenin? Well, we are told now the mainstream and a little bit more like Yahoo News and other news services are actually picking up the story and running with it about Elenin, because even though it was one of these planets that that got a lot of flack about what it was, and even though there were a lot of people telling conspiracy theorists, oh, there's no such thing as Comet Elenin, here there is an actual article about Elenin on Yahoo News. Came out last week. It says the moment long feared but conspiracy theorist is nearly upon us. The doomsday Comet Elenin will make its closest approach to Earth Sunday, or what's left of it will anyway, Comet Elenin started breaking up in August after being blasted by a huge solar storm, and a close pass by the Sun on September 10th apparently finished it off, astronomers say. So what will cruise within 22 million miles of our planet Sunday is likely to be a stream of debris rather than a completely intact comet. And the leftovers of Elenin won't return for 12,000 years, astronomers say. Folks are having trouble finding it, so I think it's probably dead and gone, said astronomer Don Yeomans of the Near Earth Object Program office at NASA's JPL laboratory in Pasadena. This means it probably won't present much of a sky-watching show, Sunday, scientists have said. And then it just goes on here. It says Elenin's apparent demise may come as a relief to some folks since apocalyptic rumors circulating on the internet portrayed the comet as a major threat to Earth. One theory claimed Elenin would have set off havoc after aligning with other heavenly bodies, spurring massive earthquakes and tsunamis. Another held that Elenin was not a comet at all, but in fact a rogue planet called Nibiru, which would bring about the end times on Earth. After all, the comet's name could be as a spooky acronym. Extinction level event, Nibiru is nigh. These ideas were pure nonsense, Yeoman said. Elenin is a second-rate, wimpy little comet that never should have become noted for anything. He told Space.com, it's not even a bright one. Elenin remains will not only be the only objects about to make their close paths with Earth. One day after Elenin's flyby, the small asteroid 2009 TM8 will zip close by. Like Elenin, it poses no threat of striking our home planet. So, Elenin was named after its discoverer, Russian astronomer Leonid Elenin, who spotted it in December 2010. Before the icy wanderer broke up, its nucleus was likely 2 to 3 miles in diameter. Elenin never posed any threat to Earth. Yeoman said it was far too small to exert any influence over our planet unless it managed to hit us. Just driving to work every day in my subcompact car is going to have far more of a gravitational effect on Earth than this comet ever will. Elenin's supposed connection to earthquakes was just a correlation, and a weak one, he added. Relatively strong earthquakes occur every day somewhere in the U.S., so it's easy, not statistically valid, to blame some of them for the comet's changing positions. Yeoman's views over the frenzy of Elenin as a product of the internet age, which allows loud and often uninformed voices to drown out the rather more prosaic results which scientists published in peer-reviewed journals. It's a snowball effect on the web, Yeoman said. You get one or two folks to make outrageous claims and a bunch of others pile on. That's true, but there's often times where a bunch of others actually bring information that's being hidden because Yeoman's maybe is not aware that NASA and the government doesn't always tell the truth. So you have to really kind of cover their tracks, Yeomans, make sure that they are telling the truth. Now, it is interesting. Okay, so we're being told from this article that Elenin and this TM 2009 are two different objects, right? And again, that's been kind of the debate for some time. Let me jump over here to space weather. See, it's space weather. Okay, asteroid flyby talks about this 2009 TM8. It's flying through the Earth's solar system today. And the interesting thing about all of this is that there is no Elenin mentioned anywhere here, okay? So we're told that there's a near-Earth object, Elenin, that is passing through us today. But it's not here. It has not ever been here that I recall seeing on their grid. It shows TM8, 2009, but why is Elenin not on here? Why has its information never been on here? That's kind of strange to me. We do have, and they tell us this is only 8 meters in size. You know, we've had other ones, 2.3 meters, you know, smaller ones. But this one coming through on the 8th of November, well, it's 175 meters. So we got a big one coming through in the near future. Well, while we're here, let's look at our weather for today. Space weather, 409 kilometers per second. That's the solar wind. We're at a planetary KP index of 0 with a maximum of 2 and only 40% chance of an M-class flare, but very, very, very low that we're going to have an X-class. That's our space weather for today. You know, I want to do a lookup for you here. November. here. This is something that I want to just keep you alerted to, because this will be, you can look up November 9th, 2011, and you can see what FEMA has planned for that day. FEMA and the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, announced nationwide test of the emergency alert system. Goes on to say that U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and the FCC, Federal Communication Commission, will conduct the first nationwide test of the emergency alert system. The nationwide test will occur on Wednesday, November 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and may last up to 3.5 minutes. The AES is a national alert and warning system established to enable the President of the United States to address the American public during emergencies. NOAA's Weather Service, governors, and state and local emergency authorities also use parts of the system to issue more localized emergency alerts. Similar to local EAS tests that are already conducted frequently, the nationwide test will involve broadcast radio and television stations, cable television, satellite radio and television services, and wire video service providers across all states and the territories of Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the American Samoa. On November 9th, the public will hear a message including that this is a test. The audio message will be the same for both radio and television. Under the FCC's rules, radio and television broadcasters, cable operators, satellite digital audio radio providers, direct broadcast satellite service providers, and wireline video service providers are provided to receive and transmit presidential EAS messages to the public. A national test will help the federal partners and the EAS participants determine the reliability of a system that is and its effectiveness in notifying the public of emergencies and potential dangers nationally and regionally. All right? So just in case you weren't aware of that particular article, now you are. So on the 9th, we've got this big test that's going to be done in the national broadcast system here in the United States. And the day before that, a 175-meter comet is going to pass through our solar system closer to the planet Earth than the moon. So does this have any significance? I don't know. Are they connected? I don't know. You know, there's so many stories and rumors that run around on the internet that it is an area that is sometimes challenging to decipher what's real and what's not. What you have to use is your sense of discernment. And that's the important thing. You have to be able to understand when you look at a piece of information what's real and what's not, what you should throw away and what you should consider. Because we don't want to go believe in all the lies that are out there. And it seems that there's a lot of stuff that we do get caught up in on a whole. And it would be nice if we just kind of checked ourselves a little bit more. You know, just in case someone is kind of running a test to see if people are going to follow the wrong trail of information or not. Now we've got the same article here about Elenin up on the Mail Online, and Doomsday Comet will make its closest approach to Earth today, and now it's showing it here and where Elenin is going to pass through. Alright. Others said Elenin was not a comet but a rogue planet. It's the same article I read before. You know, and Richard Hogan, what about Richard Hoagland? He talks about Elenin, and he says that it is an intelligently controlled craft. If that is the case, then it's really not passing through because something occurred in the process of it slowed down. Remember, it was supposed to go through on the 10th or the 11th. It was going to actually be at that, you know, perihelion position, but instead it slowed down. And so it didn't arrive supposedly for 3 days to that position. If that's the case, then everything else is going to be off by at least 3 days. So even though today was a day we were told that Elenin was supposed to be crossing in front of the planet, well, if we're off by 3 days, what do you think? Take a moment, think about that. If today's the 17th and we're 3 days late, when would that put things? The 20th, right? So as you can see, there's something strange to the story because we're told one story, it slowed down. It didn't get to where it got. So the only way it could catch up to itself or catch up to where it's supposed to be on the 17th is if it's sped up. Now, I haven't heard any stories about that. So something is strange out there with this whole deal. Something is very strange. I know a lot of people want to dismiss it. I think that there's still something to look at. So let's see if we can find any more information. We'll keep digging and see if we can find something that is actual realistic, okay? Something we can use. Now, our next story here is taking us to California. As I told you last week, that the federal government decided that they were going to crack down now on the marijuana dispensaries, medical marijuana dispensaries in California. But now we have a fight back. This is out of the Los Angeles Times. California Medical Association calls for legalization of marijuana. The doctor group questions the medical value of pot and acknowledges some health risk from it, but it urges it to be regulated like alcohol. A law enforcement official harshly criticizes the new stance. This is by Anthony York, the Los Angeles Times, reporting from Sacramento. The state's largest doctor group is calling for legalization of marijuana, even as it pronounces cannabis to be one of its most questionable medical value. Trustees of the California Medical Association, which represent more than 35,000 physicians statewide, adopted the position at their annual meeting in Anaheim last Friday. It is the first major medical association in the nation to urge legalization of the drug, according to a group spokeswoman who said the larger membership was notified Saturday. Dr. Donald Lyman, the Sacramento physician who wrote the group's new policy, attributed the shift to growing frustration over California's medical marijuana law, which permits cannabis use with a doctor's recommendation. That, he said, has created an untenable situation for physicians deciding whether to give patients a substance that is illegal under federal law. It's an uncomfortable position for doctors, he said. It's an open question whether cannabis is useful or not. That question can only be answered once it is legalized and more research is done. Then and only then can we know what it is useful for. The CMA's new stance appears to have as much to do with the politics as science. The group has rejected one of the main arguments of medical marijuana advocates, declaring that the substance has few proven health benefits and comparing it to a folk remedy. The group acknowledges some health risks associated with marijuana use and proposes it to be regulated along the lines of alcohol and tobacco, but it says the consequences of criminalization outweigh the hazards. As you can see, there's much more to this article. I'm not going to read the whole thing here. You can go ahead and do that. But there is a fight back. I mean, heck, our founding fathers, they did grow this. They understood that there were a lot of uses for this plant. Now, how is it that 200 some odd years later, we still are having problems with understanding what they understood back then? I guess because we're still having problems understanding the Constitution that they wrote. Any other thing that they might have done that would have been wise and helpful to the planet. Okay. Last story for today, Anonymous.
Bank Transfer Day public announcement. Together we can ensure that these banking institutions will always remember the 5th of November. If the 99% removes our funds from the major banking institutions to non-profit credit unions on or by the 5th of November, we will send a clear message to the 1% that conscious consumers won't support companies with unethical business practices. 1. Open an account with a credit union. 2. Transfer your funds to the new account on or before 11/05. 3. Follow your bank's procedures to close your account. 2. Find a credit union near you. Click here. For more information, visit the official Facebook page. Click here.
Alright, as you can see, Anonymous is fighting back, and Bank Transfer Day honored by the 5th of November. Alright. Very good. There's our news and information today. All that means now is time for us to do a meditation. So, let us close out the show. Go ahead and close your eyes, relax. Take a deep breath. And exhale. I want you to imagine that one day you wake up and you're on another planet. And you wake up on this other planet and you look around and you see the beauty of the planet. It looks like Earth. It feels like Earth, but it isn't Earth. And as you walk along the planet and you learn about the new planet, you meet other people living on the planet just like you. And you realize that people are people across this great universe of ours. And it doesn't matter if we're on another planet. We are all living, being, breathing beings. And we are all living in the same great cosmos. And with the universal understanding that we are all of the same oneness, life becomes a bit lighter. Because somehow that knowledge makes everything much simpler to know that we are all one. And now bring yourself back down to planet Earth. And on planet Earth, look out into the cosmos and look up at the other planets and realize again that we are all one. And then as you see these beings and these other planets up there, and you remember the oneness of everything, know that it makes your journey on life much easier. Because instead of feeling separated, you feel connected. And make sure all your chakras are activated. Bottom of the spine, red. Bring the energy up to the chakra above it. Orange. To the chakra above it. Yellow. Right beneath the rib cage. Up into the heart space. The green chakra. And then up to the throat. Blue. From the blue throat chakra, raise the energy up higher to the third eye. Imagine the color violet. And then finally to the top of your head, your crown chakra. Imagine the color indigo. And then it turns to bright white light as it connects up above. Feel all the multicolored energy flowing through your body. Allow it to overflow and notice the line of light around you that comes out as this energy flows from you. This is your spiritual armor, so that it'll protect you. Practice turning it on. And now, from your heart chakra, imagine that green color energy and send it out across the globe right now in all directions. Send out love all around the planet. Love goes out there and love chases away all the fear. It melts all the doubts. And just imagine this love being sent to each and every individual on the planet. Now, let's just think a good thought for everybody. Wish everybody a good, safe, healthy day. And with that, let's bring our energy and attention back to the present moment. And we'll do so on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. And that is the end of another show, another meditation, another day. You know, friends, it seems like with all of these doomsday prophecies we hear about from time to time that come and pass, we're still here. So are we living on borrowed time? Perhaps. Perhaps that's an important lesson that the Creator wants us all to know, that life is precious, and then each and every day is a gift. And each and every day we're living on borrowed time. So live it to the fullest, my friends. Go out and love, enjoy, have fun, but be safe. Remember, we're all in this together. We're all heading the same direction. So let's all get there safely and, have a good time in the process. We can do both. We can do both. Be smart out there, my friends. I'll be back tomorrow. For Dirk Bradshaw and Josh Poet, thanks again. Peace. I'm out of here.